Join me today while I show you how to make the classic summertime dish, lemon meringue pie. Coming up next. Hello friends and welcome back. If you're new to my channel, my name is Andrea and this is Dessert First. So today I'm going to show you how to make a lemon meringue pie. My mom used to make lemon meringue pie fairly often, but she always used a pudding mix for the actual lemon portion. So today I'm going to actually show you how to make it completely from scratch. So we'll probably won't make the crust from scratch today though, just to show you how you can save some time. All right, let's get started. All right, so let's get started on our lemon meringue pie. So you're going to want about a half a cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice. So for the lemons I had, that turned out to be 2.5 lemons. They're pretty juicy. And then I'm going to just add a zest of 1 lemon. So the key to zesting a lemon, always wash them or use your fruit and veggie wash, whatever you have. Just clean the outside of your lemons. And then I'm just using this zester, which is the same one that I use for like grating Parmesan cheese. And then, now I've already cut this one in half, and zested most of it. But what you want to do is just lightly pull it through there. You don't want to just keep going in one spot because you just want the yellow part. You don't want to get into that pith, that white part, because that's bitter. You just want the yellow part. The yellow part is just going to add some more flavor. That's where the oils of the lemon are at, is in the zest. So it will just bring in a little more flavor. So, but I've already zested most of this. I just wanted to show you how that works. So we're going to go ahead and separate our eggs. So I'm going to need 3 eggs. And I'm going to put the whites into a separate bowl because for the lemon part we just need the yolks. So we're just going to separate these out. Whoop. And I got just a tiny bit of yolk in there. So I'm going to fish that out because I'm going to use these whites to make the meringue. And you don't want any yolk in there at all. Okay. And you may notice that these eggs look different. These are some fresh eggs from my aunt and uncle's farm. And they're just beautiful. All different colors and shades. All right, so we're just gonna set the egg whites aside. And then for the egg yolks, I'm just gonna kind of give them a little bit of a whisk, and then we're gonna set those aside for the moment. Okay. Now, I've already baked off a pie shell, and I hit the easy button and just got a pie shell out of the freezer section of my grocery store. It's already in the pan. I baked this at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. So just check on it. Before you bake it, just take your fork and dock it. So just, you know, kind of poke holes. That's going to give an escape route for the steam, because there'll be steam that gets up underneath, and then you'll wind up with a dome. Now, if you still wind up with a dome, as soon as you pull it out of the oven, you can take your fork and just kind of try to get a little tiny bit of a hole on a couple of sides so that the steam can't escape. Once it cooled for a couple of minutes, I was able to take my fork, and then I just took it and I just kind of gently pressed on it because it was still very pliable. I just pressed on it, and some of that steam was able to escape, and that's why mine is nice and flat. Now, if you want to bake your own from scratch, then I'll link the recipe that I have in the basics playlist for you up here. So, all right, so we're going to set that aside. So we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar into a saucepan. I'm using my bigger saucepan. It is a 3/4. So 3/4 of a cup of sugar. We're also going to add 1/3 of a cup of cornstarch. We're also going to add, I'm going to actually add a pinch of salt. Then we're going to add a cup of whole milk. And I'm using my French whisk so I can get into the corners of the pan. And then we're going to add a cup of heavy cream. So this is going to be a really rich pie. Mix that in, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat on. And I'm going to turn it on medium to start off with. We're going to go ahead and add our zest. And our lemon juice. So we're just going to kind of stir this, keep stirring it. We don't want it to scorch. So we're really just wanting to bring this up to a good bubble. We want it to be really hot and bubbly to that kind of that boiling point. And it's going to take, it could take up to 2 minutes. So 2 minutes or until it starts to thicken. So when you're stirring this, you're going to be able to kind of feel, you know, how thick it is. So as it thickens, then, and once it's bubbly, then you'll be able to tell. Sometimes it's more about how things feel than the actual time. So, and honestly, this is exactly the way you would do it if you're making a pastry cream, a custard. They're all made the same, basically. It's the same process. It has been extremely hot this summer here, and I did not want to turn the oven on, so, and have it on for a long time. I actually baked my pie shell in my toaster oven. it did not take as long. So if you use a toaster oven, keep a really close eye on it. It only took half the time. But in a regular oven, just follow the directions I gave you earlier. But yeah, it's supposed to be up. Today's the coolest day at about 96 or 98. And then it's supposed to be well over 100 for the foreseeable future. So and I remember growing up, my mom made lemon meringue pies fairly often, actually. I don't recall her making them as much in the fall. I think it was more of a summer thing because it didn't require baking. Of course, back then, you know, there was no toaster oven, so she still had to turn the oven on to bake the crust. And she always made her crust from scratch. I have never known her to actually buy a pre-made crust, but I have found that sometimes hitting the easy button is okay. So if you're not good at making pie crust, then by all means, go ahead and just buy a pre-made one. If you like making pie crust, then make it from scratch. We are getting really close because it's already thickening up, but it hasn't bubbled yet. Oh, I saw a bubble. So we're going to turn the heat off, and then I've got my eggs over here. So we're going to temper the eggs. If you just dumped the eggs into this, they would just immediately scramble, and that is not what you want. So we're just going to put a little bit in there and whisk it really fast. That's just going to warm up the eggs. We're going to put a little more in there. Now, whisk, whisk, whisk. I'm going to add just a little more. My bowl is moving all over the place. Okay. Whisk that up. All right, now we're ready to turn the heat back on, but I'm going to turn it kind of between medium and low because we're still fairly thick, so we're not really looking to thicken it at this point. We really just want to make sure that the eggs get completely cooked. So and you don't want it to scorch, so you just want to bring it back up to a bubble, and it's starting to. going to go ahead and turn that off. All right, so we are going to add some vanilla and some butter. So I'm just going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. And then about 3 tablespoons of butter. And we're just going to mix that and let that melt the butter. Of course, our fire is off, so all right, we're almost melted, and then we're going to add it to our pie shell. There we go. Just dump this in our pie shell. If you can see. All right, and you can see that there was no scorching. So looking inside the pan, nothing scorched. If you scorch this, it's ruined. There's no way to fix scorched custard or the lemon filling. It just leaves a really horrendous taste when you scorch it. So, all right, so we're just going to chill this. I'm going to let it cool on the counter for about half an hour. Then I'm going to pop it in the fridge for probably an hour because I don't want it to melt the meringue when I put the meringue on top of it. So, all right, so I have made some meringue. This is the French meringue, so I'll link that video up here for you. This is just the meringue that I grew up having on lemon meringue pie. So I just didn't know that it had an actual particular name until I was an adult. So now you could use Italian meringue would be fabulous on this, but this is the meringue I remember growing up having on lemon meringue pie. So that's why I have made this one. And I did mix it till it has pretty firm peaks. There we go. And don't mind Sweetie barking. I think she's on the back porch. All right, so here is our pie. It has chilled. It actually has been in the fridge for probably 45 minutes. So we're just going to add this meringue. It's nice and cool, so it's not going to melt the meringue at all. Smooth this on here. Just want to make sure it's fairly even. I don't want one half of the pie to be really thick meringue and then the other half be a little thinner. So you want it fairly even. And then I just want to make some peaks. Now you could pop this into the oven under the broiler to toast it. You're going to want to keep a really close eye on it so that it doesn't burn. I would say if you're going to put it in the toaster oven, set it more about like on 250 just so you don't burn it. Or if you have a torch, you can use that. Okay, so let me get this turned on. Oops. And I'm just going to carefully, you don't want to shake your torch. A bit more. All right. And there we have our lemon meringue pie. I'm going to let this set. My mom's coming over, so I'm going to share some pie with her. So I hope you enjoy this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when I'm posting a next video, and go ahead and share it. So we need more subscribers. So until next time, friends.